Hi, welcome to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. I'm your host, Ross Benjamin. It is Thursday, April the 11th. We're going to be talking NBA today with Mr. Chip Chirimbes of gamblersworld.com, which is our gamblersworld.net, which is our sponsor site. And I'm also of gamblersworld.net. And then Mr. Doug Upstone from DocSports.com. Docs has been around for 53 years, folks, and longevity speaks volumes in this industry. Before I get to these two handsome gentlemen and get their sports betting expert advice on games and whatever else comes to their mind, just a friendly reminder, folks, gamblersworld.net, like I said, they are our sponsor. And there you could find myself, Chipper, and 8 other great handicappers at that site where we guarantee our picks. And what that simply means, folks, all single game and multi-game daily picks, as well as subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. If you don't win, you don't make a profit, we will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price. No, that is not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of our confidence saying, if you don't win, we have confidence we will make you money in the long haul. And folks, if you look up not only myself and Chip, but the 8 other great handicappers at the site and do some Google search on any one of us, you'll find some pretty impressive resumes and also a pretty impressive resume for Doug over at DocSports.com. Doug's been doing it around the same time I have been for over 2 decades now. And Chipper, I don't know if there's ever been a point in the sports betting industry that Chipper hasn't been involved in it. Anyway, one other thing. Major League Baseball is upon us in full threshold. And right now at gamblersworld.net, if you just want Major League Baseball through the All-Star break, you can get that right now simply for $349. Wow. I had to look at that price twice. $349. Right through the All-Star break. Why we offer that? Well, a lot of you like to fill time during the next couple months. If you like to bet on sports, baseball, pretty much, and the NBA playoffs is really all you have to choose from. The NHL as well. But in any event, a lot of you like to stop your betting on baseball around the All-Star break because you're going on vacation, you need a break, you're waiting for football. And for those of you who don't, and you want the entire Major League Baseball season, and I would highly suggest you do so because we got 3 great MLB handicappers right here, right now, and you can get that entire MLB annual package for just $6.95. That goes for any handicapper over, or sports betting expert, I like to say, over at gamblersworld.net. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let me introduce my guest. And the incomparable, the handsome, the vagabond only because he started in Connecticut, he's in Las Vegas, he goes to Florida. You just never know where his suitcase is going to land. Mr. Chip Chirimbes, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Ross?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. And I'm so glad that you're able to join us, Chip.
Well, you're not the only one, believe me.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be feeling better as well.
Chip will be with us every Monday and Thursday with Doug Upstone, and Chip also will be filling in for Jesse Schule, who will be on vacation next week. So you get Chipper 4 days in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What's the world coming to? And we're going to get an overabundance of Chip. Chip, how are you doing lately? And anything you want to share with the audience in terms of what they have to look forward to this week over at gamblersworld.net?
Our big game release on Monday was a winner with Connecticut. And, you got to have to ride that horse. I mean, my goodness, a 2-year run in the tournament. I've never seen anything like that previously. And we can go back to those UCLA days but they weren't as dominant each and every game the way Connecticut was. That was really something. A quick note about Major League Baseball. Chris Sale was electrifying in the game for the Atlanta Braves. And if he's going to be doing that, watch out for the Braves this year. They may be able to overtake the Dodgers. And, of course, most exciting player in baseball. I've been harping on it for over a year. My Ellie De La Cruz. You fantasy players, if you're not playing him every day when he gets hot, you're missing out because this guy's electric and he puts numbers up, especially the way he's starting to swing the bat right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, he got hurt last season early in the year, which derailed the season. But this kid is a very talented player. And I know one guy who loves to talk baseball, and that's Mr. Doug Upstone at DocSports.com. And Doug, what do you want to share with us?
Well, I got a variety of things. First of all, the last couple of days have been good for Mr. Upstone here, and 6-1, so up a
Nice.
little over $1,300 based on units. How Docs does it, so that's been good. In fact, the only game I lost was, and you know what? It's a game I would take 99 out of 100 times. I had the Yankees on the run line last night. I mean, that blew my mind that they did not. Not only did they lost, or not only did they not cover, they lost the game outright. But hey, those things are going to happen. So 6-1 run. Tonight, we got a 6-unit best bet going in the NHL. And as I have been talking on this show ad nauseum, with best bet record, 24-10 run, case a little over 70%, up almost $8,000 of profit on those best bets. So that has really rolled. And then tonight also, in the NBA, 2 straight winners. So that's good. I'm happy to get something going on that with the playoffs just around the corner here. And along with that, NBA props. 6-3 recently on NBA props, 61% the last 17 weeks. So the consistency has been there across the board. I'm going to look to continue to play those, and baseball props are coming up right around the corner.
Yeah, there you go, Mr. Upstone. He's across the board. Again, folks, if you look up Doug and Google him, you'll find not only is he doing well with the streaks he just mentioned, but he's had several top 10 and top 5 finishes nationally on various sports monitors. So again, for all 3 of us, we're not the type of guys who tell you what a record is. And when you ask us, well, how do we know that? We tell you because we said so. We get documented in several sites. We put out the same picks on in Doug's case, he's only at Doc Sports because he's contracted there. But prior to that, and with me and Chip now, several sites, we put up the same picks on every site, folks. And with an exception of one time, it's going to be a winner on one site and a loser on another because of a half point or a point difference. You could see where we're going with it. So we put our money where our mouth is. And no, we don't win all the time. Okay. Nobody says, we feature some of the best stuff that we've done of late. And it's for your sake that you know where to follow us and what we're hot at. So again, don't take it that we're not telling you when we lose, because we're as transparent as they come. All right, and myself, real quickly, and then we'll get to the games. On a 33-21 all sports run, good for 61%. Major League Baseball since August 4th of last year, 64-41, folks. I don't give out big favorites. Okay, 140 or less in totals, run lines, first 5 inning picks. Also, all totals in all sports, 128 and 93. That's good for 58%. And my top plays of late have been on fire. I've won 10 of my last 12 top play, 5% top play winners. So a lot of good things. You can get me over at gamblersworld.net. And don't forget, folks, I know that some of you like to dabble in for a day, but you can get our 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day packages for any one of us. And we guarantee all those packages that if you don't win or don't make a profit, we will credit your account back the exact amount of what you paid for that each individual subscription. All right, Chipper.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. Boston with nothing to play for. The Knicks are still knocking at the door to be a number 2 seed, and they have something to play for. And boy, oh boy, I don't know, Chip, Zach Randolph going down and everybody wrote the Knicks off. To me, this is just me, and I know I'm going to get flack for taking this statement, but I'm not so sure his loss, with all due respect to him and the productivity he's put up over the years, was as huge as people are making it out to be, because to me, he slowed down their offense. Every time he gets the ball, he reminds me of James Harden, where he takes 14 seconds off the shot clock, and if he doesn't have anything, he leaves little else. And it just seems like the Knicks are playing with a lot more chemistry without him right now.
And he was their leading scorer. And, as you're saying this, I keep thinking about his playoff performances in the past, which have not been good. I think the Knicks have made a great adjustment. Jalen Brunson has just taken his team on his shoulders. The key to me is the guard that they got from Toronto in that big trade. I won't even try to pronounce his name. And he is like an all-around player that's sort of like the missing cog for this team. And they're third in the East right now, and that's quite surprising to me. A game and a half behind Milwaukee. I don't think they'll get there. But, interesting about this matchup, because I had reservations about it. New York opens a 1-point favorite, Ross. I think most people saw that. And now they've moved to the Boston Celtics being 1.5, which is justifiable. They've swept the Knicks so far this season, 4-0 against them. And the last game they're coming off, I did have Milwaukee as my best bet release, and it was a mega buck winner over the Boston Celtics. They didn't attempt a free throw. So their aggression as far as going to the basket hasn't been there. Obviously, they've clinched number one spot no matter what they do the rest of the way, and they're just looking to stay healthy. But now you're playing New York, and I think there may be a whole different mindset when you're playing the Knicks than if you're just going through with Milwaukee or anyone else. It is the Knicks, and there's always that rivalry between Boston and New York, and that bothers me. With that being said, I think the odds maker knows what they're doing out there. We've said that before, and opening the Knicks the favorite really drew me to them. I'm like a moth or a butterfly to light, and it's the way it is right now. I'm going to have the Knicks in this game, and they're 0-4 against the Celtics. No Julius Randle, but New York seems to be putting it together in Thibodeau. And like you said, maybe they're better without Randle, and Jalen Brunson certainly is one of the top players in the entire NBA.
He's outstanding. I love that kid.
Yeah,
I love the chemistry and the cohesiveness in which the Knicks have been playing of late. They've been playing a little on the higher side of the total in recent weeks than they have all year long. I don't know what to attribute that to other than the fact that their offensive productivity has increased and improved. So, Doug, I look at a line like this, and we look at the fact that Boston doesn't need the game. And we saw Boston when they played Milwaukee in their previous game, and they just laid a complete egg, losing by 20 at the half and ended up losing by a double-digit margin because Milwaukee had a lot more to play for. And Boston's been a lock for the number one seed in the East for quite some time now. I look at this line, and I haven't even looked at the player availability chart yet, but I would almost go out on a limb without looking at it and say that either Jaylen Brown or who's your other big guy?
Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Either one or both of those guys will be sitting tonight. So anyway, your take.
Yeah, I mean, I along the same lines as Chip. I mean, I like Boston in the one sense because they're playing New York, and the other thing, Boston's their last two games of the season are at home against Charlotte and Washington, so we know they're not going to give much effort in those games. So I thought, well, maybe a little bit here, but just overall, I mean, the Knicks just have more to play for. I mean, it's as simple as that. And so, if I was going to look at, I just a slight lean with New York, and if there's anything I probably would like even more is New York for the first half, thinking that they're, if they're going to come out, they're really going to come out to try get on fire here and really try and put Boston down. So that that would probably be more of my play. Easy for me to say than anything else in this game, but not a lot here to like in this case.
Yeah, I agree with Chipper on a couple fronts here. Number one, the Knicks need the game more. Number two, look, they're a game and a half out of second place, as Chip alluded to, but probably not realistic. They're going to get to the number 2 seed. But I think it's more important for New York, I should say, regardless of the seeding right now, to continue with the momentum they've developed over the last couple weeks, as opposed to Boston, who's been a clear number 1 seed forever and a day, it seems like. And right now, the Boston Celtics, again, they'll never come out and say this, but management, the coaching staff, the players in general, they just want to get to the finish line of the regular season healthy going into the playoffs. Look what happened with Giannis the other day. You know what I mean? He goes down with a calf injury. I don't know how serious it is. They say it's not that serious, but who knows? We'll see what happens. So in any event, Doug, let's get to your game, which is New Orleans and Sacramento. And right now, the Sacramento Kings, who are a 1.5-point home favorite, the total in this game, 215.5. Still a lot for both of these teams to play for, Doug. You're looking at Sacramento right now. I I don't have the information in front of me, but I believe they're playing for either a number 8 or number 7 seed. And there's a big difference between 8 and 7, if being that you would get the home game in that 7-8 matchup. And if you win that game, also, you're going to move on. And if you lose, you're still going to host the loser of or the winner of the 9 versus 10. And then the New Orleans Pelicans just one game ahead of Phoenix, Doug, between 6th and 7th seed. So, I mean, obviously getting a 6th seed, you don't have to play in the play-in tournament.
Right.
Okay. And it's not, you have the assurance that you're going to be involved in a 5-game series and have more room for error, for a better phrase. But anyway, what's your take here, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans, what they've strangely have gotten to this point. So they, like you said, they're the number 6 seed, one game ahead of Phoenix, and they came into this one. They lost 4 straight home games. Okay, and then they go on the road and they win 2 in a row. So this is their 3rd straight road game. And on the season, they're a exceptional 26-14 straight up away. Sacramento is back home after a 1-3 road excursion. Like I say, they're the 8th seed. Not much chance of getting moving up from that standpoint. So not a lot for them in that essence. But they're still 23-15 straight up at home. But against the spread, they're only 16-22, and they're winning by less than 2 points per game. Thing that I'm looking at this game and looking at the numbers, Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter are both out. The Sacramento offense doesn't really then have a good companion to go along with DeAndre Fox in the backcourt. And this is very evident in the stat sheet. The Kings have shot below 44% in 8 of their last 11 games. And this is for a team that all season long has shot 47%. Now, their defense has improved. So the mentality of the team has gotten a little bit better on the defensive end, more so than the offensive end. But to me, New Orleans, better team offensively and defensively. Sure, they'll have some lulls. We see that with this team. But Pelicans, when they're facing a defense that allows 48% or higher shooting percentage, they are 29-15. And the Kings, when they are coming off 3 consecutive road games and they're at home the next one, 2-11 against the number. Ross, I'm taking the Pelicans on this one to win and cover this game, to win outright. And so covering will be no problem for them on this one.
All right, the New Orleans Pelicans plus 1.5 against Sacramento. And if you look at the splits between home and away, the Pelicans are much better on the road than they are at home. So, I mean, and the numbers speak to that. So, Chipper, one of those games where, both teams have something to play for. And it's a matter of who's playing better at this time. And you can make a case for each team in this circumstance. But I certainly, if I have a lean on the side, I have a strong opinion on a total. But I'll let you speak first, Chip.
Well, these two teams are 2 games apart as far as their record is concerned. And Sacramento has lost all 4 games to New Orleans that they played. And this is their 5th meeting. If they had won one of them, they'd be in the dead heat right now. Last time they played at home, they lost 133-100. Williamson was out for the Pelicans. And their last time out, they blew a 20-point lead on the road. And Mike Brown said he was encouraged that they had a 20-point lead on the road. I think there's a mentality there that's just not conducive to winning. I think the Pelicans are the side.
Yeah. I was encouraged when I ran a race against a guy in high school, and I was up by 5 yards in the first 50 yards in a 100-yard dash, and I lost by a lap in that event. Look, here's the thing. Doug, it's Sacramento. They could still get caught at the number 8 seed too, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
One game ahead of the Lakers and Golden
State. And again, when you play some 49 games, folks, the difference between finishing 8th or 7th and 9th and 10th is extremely important. If you finish 9th or 10th, you not only have to win the 9 versus 10 matchup, you have to go on the road to play the loser of the 7 versus 8. So 7 versus 8. Look, if you get a 7th or 8th seed, you win one, you're in. If you lose, you're still hosting a play-in game against the winner of the 9 versus 10. So a lot to play for there. In New Orleans, I don't think that they want to. at this point, tremendous road team right now, and they certainly don't want to fall into the play-in tournament. They're just one game ahead of Phoenix. In any event, my feeling here, I mean, I look at the way both of these teams have played. Doug, you said it best. I mean, you think of the Sacramento Kings, you think of a team that has explosive offensive productivity and high-scoring games. Well, that's been anything but the case over the last few weeks. They played 14-3 to the under in their last 17 games, excuse me. Their offense over their last 11 games, averaging a shade under 107 points per contest and shooting just 42% from the field. The Kings have also now, Doug also mentioned, when you think of the Kings, you think of high-scoring games, and you just have to outscore anybody in terrible defense. Mostly their identity on defense was, it's an afterthought. But that's been anything but the case. Over the last 7 games, they've allowed 107 points or less in 7 of their last 9 games at home, I should say. Over their last 5 games, they've held opponents to just 82 field goal attempts and 101 points per game. 82 field goal attempts by modern day NBA standards, folks, is an extremely low number. And then you got New Orleans. 15 of their last 18 on the road have gone under the total. And during those 18 games, they allowed a shade over 103 points and held opponents to 44% shooting and 32% from beyond the 3-point arc. So I'm going to have a strong lean here, actually, on Sacramento, New Orleans. I got it at 216.5 earlier today when I put it in, but it's at 215.5 now, folks. I still wouldn't shy away from that number. I think we're seeing a game that will end up being a combined in the low 200s in this matchup. Doug, you have any further thoughts on what you heard here?
No, I agree with you. I think that's the way to go if you're looking at the total. I think there's enough there just in terms of style of play. And like I say, Sacramento's missing some key components, so they're slowing the pace down. And nice adjustment by Kevin Brown, the coach, and doing the right thing. But still, I still look at this New Orleans team, and I just see a more potent team. And I saw something that somebody mentioned Brandon Ingram is out. Well, Brandon Ingram's been out since late March, and he's been in and out of the lineup the last couple of years anyway. So I don't think it has any impact on New Orleans whatsoever. I think they just come into this one, they win and cover the game, and like I said, likely go under.
Yeah, he's been out for the last 4 games, as I recall, and New Orleans has gone 3-1 in those 4 contests, and they continue to win on the road. So, again, not to make light of that injury to Brandon Ingram and his lack of availability, because New Orleans is certainly a better team without him. But just Doug makes a good point in that regard. Chipper, anything further you want to add to the conversation?
I'm not much of a totals guy, or I don't offer them that often. And I think the Pelicans are the side, and I don't want any part of Sacramento after a coach being encouraged by blowing a 20-point lead.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe we should take Sacramento in the first half, because Mike Brown seems to put a lot of emphasis on getting big leads in the first half and screw the rest of the game. So
Russ, I saw it's sort of like getting a response to Gary Sanchez after that bat with the Yankees.
Yeah. You won't let that go after all these years. Where is he now, Gary Sanchez? Is he in the majors?
I don't know. He was at San Diego. He may be in Monterey right now.
Yeah, that's Chipper's favorite player of all time, Gary Sanchez. All right, let me get to my game. Chicago and Detroit, not quite the implications of the other 2 games, but it is on the board tonight, and somebody is going to cover. A total is going to go over or under. And we won the last couple nights with our free picks in the NBA, so let's keep it going. Detroit is a 9.5, Chicago is a 9.5 point road favorite here. The total is 220. This is a Bulls team that shot 50% or better in 6 of their last 9 games. And on the other side of the coin, Detroit has allowed 7 of their last 11 opponents to shoot 50% or better. So good chance that the Bulls could put together a pretty high-octane offense tonight in terms of point production. And by the way, the Bulls have played 13 games on the road this year versus teams with a losing record, like obviously Detroit has. And in those 13 games, they won over the total 11 times.
Wow.
And then 15 division games for the Chicago Bulls this year. And they averaged a combined 225 points per game. Detroit, their last 5, as bad as they are, they've shot 38.3% from the three-point line and averaged 12 makes per game. The Chicago Bulls' three-point defense over the last 5 have left a lot to be desired, as opponents have shot 38.6% from three-point territory against the Chicago Bulls over the last 5 games. And opponents have averaged 14 makes per game over that course of time. Detroit, also 15 division games. And those 15 division games average a combined 233.8 points per game. And that includes the Pistons in those 15 contests, allowing 121.3 points per game. Both teams combined field goal attempts and free throw attempts in division games are above their season averages. So another reason and another avenue for us to score more points in this contest. It did open at 217.5. It's up to 220, 220.5. You could still get it at 220. I don't care about the totals move or the 2.5 point move. I think it's justified, and I still don't think it's enough. I'm going to take Chicago and Detroit over the total of 220. Doug?
Yeah, on this one, Ross, well, a couple things. First of all, I commend you for taking on that game, because I look at this game as 2 rats in a hat, okay? I mean, these are two terrible teams, so you're to be commended, and your research is impeccable on this one. What I'm looking at here is Billy Donovan. He didn't take the Kentucky job, or he didn't even want to interview for the Kentucky job because he's committed to the Chicago Bulls. Well, you know what? I think he should just be committed, because he's been there almost 4 years, and there's 7 games under 500 in those 4 years. Detroit stinks. Okay, we know that. And if anybody sees an upside with this team, okay, I'll be happy to send you my email, or just comment on this video here. I'm going to go off the reservation on this one, Ross. Alex Caruso, he has a total he got 19.5 for points, rebounds, and assists. That's 2 points higher than his season average here. Of course, he's playing Detroit, which is probably why it's higher. But I'm going to go under the 19.5 for points, assists, and rebounds for a prop play.
All right, there you go. And Doug's been knocking him dead all year long with his props plays. And, Doug, when I looked at the board for Thursday and I had to assign games, I was really hard pressed to come up with a third game. So what did I do? I says, well, let me be a team player and give the 2 other games, the only 2 games that really have some degree of importance, to Chip and Doug. And I'll eat crow and take the third game.
It's appreciated.
That's called a team player.
Be a winner.
Yeah, it will be a winner. So let's keep it going, boys. And Chipper will be back, like I said, with us Monday through Thursday next week with myself, Doug, on Monday and Thursday with myself, Chipper, and Sean Higgs on Tuesday and Wednesday. I know Sean will look forward to working with you because he always asks about you. And
I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, and Doug, again, you could find Doug over at DocSports.com. Nothing. I like a lot of the guys over at Docs, but Doug is our favorite. So go visit DocSports.com. Look at Doug's page. Don't forget the guy's knocking them dead with props too. And NHL, that's his forte. It's always has been, and he does very well as long as games don't go overtime. True. Chip, you want to talk about a guy who keeps a black book on overtime games, Chipper? Anyway, and Chip, I hope you have a great weekend and knocking that, buddy. And make sure you check out Chip's A plays, or Megabucks plays, as he calls them these days, as he's one of the best in isolating one game on the board daily that he likes the best in hitting at a high percentage and doing so. GamblersWorld.net for me and Chipper, DocSports.com for Doug. Don't forget, folks, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would deeply appreciate it. Costs you nothing. Who doesn't like free? Look, you're watching these videos. Most of you are watching these videos because they're getting free picks, okay? But, if you just stick to the free picks, you're not going to win as much as you do over the long haul with our premium picks. So just hit that subscribe button. It's free. And go into your YouTube settings and hit on the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. You'll be notified immediately upon us releasing any of our content on our channel. And there's a like button underneath here, folks. Hit that like button. It's just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into bringing you a quality podcast each and every day. And our theme has always been and will continue to be make you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. Until the next time, for Chip Chirimbes, Doug Upstone, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.